This takes a minute to zero.
Kid with a real boxer, a real world champion boxer. That the only other time he was in for the fans to get mad with that was against Fury's Tommy Fury, but it wasn't that level, obviously, and all the size things you just rightfully pointed out. But he would have been in there with, I mean, it seemed crazy.
Gervonta "Tank" Davis has left fans stunned with his incredible new physique ahead of his clash with Jake Paul. Known for his explosive power and compact build, Davis has taken his training to a whole new level, packing on serious muscle that's got the boxing world talking. Recent gym footage shows a noticeably bulkier, more imposing version of Tank, sparking speculation that he's gearing up to match Jake Paul's size and strength head-on.
We're yelling so much about him fighting someone, fight somebody your size. His next opponent is, by far, the most credentialed guy ever fought actively in his prime. There's one problem. He fights at 135 pounds. He fights at 135 pounds.
In the build-up to his showdown with Jake Paul, Gervonta "Tank" Davis has turned his training into a full-on war against weakness. He's combining intense strength work, brutal sparring, and non-stop conditioning to support his dramatic size transformation. Footage and reports reveal that Tank is now pushing heavier resistance training, focusing on compound lifts to add serious core and upper body mass, while still drilling speed and footwork to keep his trademark agility intact. His sparring sessions have reportedly leveled up too, featuring bigger, stronger partners, some even close to heavyweight size, to get his body used to battling larger, more physical opponents.
Yeah, this Santa Cruz out here to get you. You can't let it burn, baby, let it burn.
Mind over matter, son. Mind over matter.
This is the blues on.
Ain't nobody doing no shit like this. Come in the desert. Nigga trying to stay away from the desert. He come in the desert.
When the night is
Camera.
cold and low.
Oh, see.
Say light camera action.
Light action. Camera.
Come on, Tank. Come on, Tank. Work out. Work out, Tank. Dig down in there. Dig down in there.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Don't think about it. Don't think about it.
This is a final play.
Remember with that gun on it? They got that gun on that tank. They go, time.
When the night is cold and low.
He ain't gonna keep you here late tonight. Good job.
It's been hard being away from my daughter. She actually here. She sleep. Just being away from her, it was a little touchy. But I know when I'm up against. I know that I got pay-per-view. I know I'm fighting a tough opponent. So really, I know how to lock in. I know how to shy away from everything. I know how to, I know how to fool around.
I said 10.
Don't do that. I can't go on TV looking like that.
UFC boss Dana White didn't hold back when asked about a potential Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight. He claimed that not many people are genuinely excited about it, but admitted the matchup might still work in Tank's favor. After all, Davis has faced a run of negative headlines and fading momentum outside the ring, leaving him vulnerable. Paul's financial offer, coming at this low point, gives Davis a chance to regain the spotlight and cash in. White noted that while plenty of fans mock the fight's legitimacy, it could still give Tank valuable exposure and a payday right when he needs it most. He believes Jake Paul's height, reach, and raw strength could allow him to bully Tank, leaning in, clinching, and smothering his offense. White acknowledged that Davis is a powerful, highly technical boxer, but argued that when a smaller fighter steps into the physical world of someone Jake's size, those advantages can fade fast. In the end, White sees the potential bout not as a pure boxing contest, but as a test of whether Davis can survive and overcome Jake Paul's sheer physical dominance.
Jake Paul, Tank Davis fight got moved to Miami.
I think Jake wins.
Jake's just so big, dude.
I think Jake wins.
This is different because it's similar. It's similar to Logan versus Mayweather, but
Jake has
Jake
better
Paul
boxing.
now obviously is way more advanced than where Logan was at that moment in time.
I mean,
Gervonta
it's
is
just.
fucking sick.
I mean, yeah, no, but dude,
Did you
Jake.
ever watch his highlights?
Jake can
He's
crack,
nasty,
man.
bro.
He's so sick.
He's
I love
nasty.
that guy, bro.
Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. You have the Paul brothers and they come over to boxing. Their idea from day one is we don't have the skills or the experience. What we're gonna do is we'll take on the absolute best guys, but they're gonna spot us some pounds. Tank has one job to do, that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skills, of which I am an abundance of and of which you have none of. Tank is telling anybody that will listen that there's a size problem. My skills and my experience in boxing, I do not have to wonder who's in the bar tonight. Any bar I go to, I rule the bar. No, it turns out that you don't. Just need some big guy to corner you, apparently. Boxing has never stood its ground. Boxing has never been able to explain why Floyd needed a half hour to get rid of a guy who's never boxed before. Tank Davis has already began this. When you choose a dum-dum, don't be surprised when he goes out and acts like a dum-dum.
Bare-knuckle fighter and former UFC star Mike Perry didn't hold back when weighing in on the rumored Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul matchup. Perry blasted Davis for what he called a cash grab fight instead of pursuing real boxing challenges, questioning whether Tank still has the same fire and hunger that once made him a world champion. According to Perry, Davis choosing to fight a YouTuber-turned-boxer shows he's more interested in fame and money than in building a lasting legacy. He even hinted that Jake Paul's work ethic and drive might now surpass Davis's. Perry's bold comments hit a nerve with fans, sparking fresh debate over whether Tank's motivation is still rooted in glory or in the spotlight.
Is picking Jake Paul to beat Gervonta Davis. This is not a fight that I'm excited for at all. I would rather have Gervonta Davis fighting in a real boxing match against the likes of Lamont Roach, Shakur Stevenson, Keyshawn Davis, Emmanuel Navarrete, anybody that is in the 135-pound division and around. That's where I want to see Gervonta Davis fight. However, we live in a world where everybody is trying to do things as big as possible. And the biggest fights possible right now, unfortunately for the sport of boxing, is an exhibition fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. So I do like it for this reason, though. I like it because it is allowing Gervonta Davis to have a fight that is going to be big and that the mainstream media is going to have to cover, the mainstream media outside the world of boxing. Gervonta Davis has been, without a doubt, blocked, having venues blocked, having fighters, having other promoters paying fighters away to go different directions from Gervonta Davis. So Gervonta Davis was in a bit of a hole. And he gets an opportunity to fight Jake Paul for $200 million or whatever. I don't mind it at all. As long as Gervonta Davis comes back to the world of boxing after he gets done with this, hey man, you got your money, no worries. But you gotta love Dana White having the audacity to pick Jake Paul in this fight and says something to the effect that, hey, he was talking to Logan Paul and said, hey, when you were fighting Floyd, you know, there was this, you're a gigantic guy, big size difference. There was a time when Floyd Mayweather Jr. hit, had an overhand right that landed flush on Logan Paul.
During the face-off with Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis seemed unusually uneasy, a rare sight for the normally fearless knockout artist. Observers couldn't help but notice his tense posture, limited eye contact, and controlled but forced composure, hinting that Jake's clear size advantage might have gotten into his head. Standing across from the much bigger Paul, Tank appeared to fully grasp the physical mountain he's about to climb. While some fans believe he was just keeping his cool and staying focused, others saw that quiet tension as something deeper, a flicker of doubt beneath the calm.
Jake is big.
Tank has a lot of skill, but I don't think he's the same Tank that we saw the most incredible knockouts. We saw him, I mean, Lamont Roach performed great. They went to draw, and, you know, I just don't know. And Tank walked away. I don't know if he loves it enough to beat a guy who outweighs him by 80 to 100 pounds.
Teddy Atlas weighed in on the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis face-off, highlighting the striking size difference between the two. The veteran boxing analyst even joked that Tank is so much smaller, he'd need a ladder just to reach Jake's chin. While Atlas admitted that differences in skill and style are part of boxing, he argued that this physical gap goes far beyond what's reasonable. Comparing it to a hypothetical Canelo Alvarez move up to fight Terrence Crawford, Atlas pointed out that even Crawford was never as undersized as Davis is here. In his eyes, Tank's lack of reach and natural size makes the matchup feel lopsided, more spectacle than sport from the very beginning.
Tank looked very uncomfortable facing off. He just did. I've seen other face-off this Tank done. He gets in their face and they're intense and he looks good. He looked very meager up there. You've had 8 fights and you're gonna go tangle with Tank Davis. And the story instantly comes out. Jake is so much bigger. There is such a compliment to Jake within that insult. It is meant to be an insult. It is meant to take away from a potentially glorious moment for Jake. But where the compliment comes is it means the public believes he's gonna win. That's what it means.
Shakur Stevenson didn't hold back when asked about the rumored Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight, calling it a terrible matchup for the sport. The undefeated champion said the fight makes no real competitive sense and exists purely as a money grab, not a genuine test of boxing skill. Stevenson stressed that the massive size difference between the two turns the whole thing into more of a spectacle than a true contest, something that entertains, perhaps, but doesn't honor what real boxing is about.
Things, right? They should also have like the size of the ring, the size of the glove, all that stuff. Particulars should be in the contract. But I would probably look for one thing that is not the common thing to have in a contract if I'm Tank. A ladder. A ladder. Can I get a ladder? Somebody? You know what I mean? Hey, look, if he hits him on the chin the way he can punch, Jake might be doing a dance, you know what I mean? Not voluntarily either. But we'll get into that more later. The thing that I'm talking about right here is what you said. It was stark. The size difference was really, you couldn't ignore it. We understand the talent difference, the experience difference. We understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo, but a little different. The size difference was, it was eye-catching, jaw-dropping, and it made me think. And I'm going to ask Richie, our man here who's doing all the taping, who does such a marvelous job. I'm going to ask him because I know he's an expert in this area. But it reminded me of one of the Rocky movies where they had the face, where they did the wrestling thing with Rocky and Hulk Hogan, a.k.a. Thunderlips. He was Thunderlips back there. And I thought I had it right, and it was confirmed to me. It's Rocky III.
Leonard Ellerby explained that Tank had been dealing with several personal challenges and wasn't looking to take on any extra stress at the time. That lack of motivation, he said, is the real reason the fight never happened, despite fans eagerly expecting it. Ellerby suggested that Tank was more focused on getting his personal life in order than proving anything in the ring, and stepping away from Roach was simply his way of avoiding more pressure when he needed space to reset.
Maybe he'll fight Jake Paul instead. What do you think of that?
I think that's terrible.
Why?
I get it, because at the end of the day, it's the money business, and you want to make the most money, but from what I'm hearing, he can make more money in a fight with me, and if that's the case, why not fight me?
Sure. Do you think he beats Jake Paul?
Do I think he beats Jake? Yeah.
There's a huge size advantage, though.
It is, but I think Tank got the skills to make sure he come out on top.
Do you think that Jake has gone better?
Yeah, I think actually Jake got tremendously better from the time frame that he started till now. And in the right situation, I also could see him become a world champion.
Really?
Jake Paul's moves in boxing often seem fueled more by promotion than pure competition. Instead of chasing rankings or genuine title shots, Paul handpicks opponents who spark viral moments and financial buzz. His fights, whether against retired MMA stars or smaller boxers like Gervonta Davis, are built to dominate headlines and light up social media, keeping his brand in the spotlight. By fusing entertainment with sport, Jake blurs the line between spectacle and competition, ensuring maximum viewership, no matter how fair the matchup really is. One of the biggest debates surrounding the rumored Paul versus Davis fight centers on the massive difference in their size and physicality. Jake, who's faced much larger opponents and naturally carries more weight, comes in with clear advantages in height, reach, and frame. Meanwhile, Gervonta Davis, standing just 5'5" and fighting around 130 pounds, has built his reputation in lighter divisions where his explosiveness and knockout power make him truly dangerous.
Leonard Ellerby said, to tell you the truth, Gervonta Davis couldn't get up for Lamont Roach. And what does that mean? It means that he could not get inspired, that he was not motivated to fight Lamont Roach, that his mind was not in a place where it was like, yeah, okay, let's get it. And he was going to war with Lamont Roach. He was going through the motions with Lamont Roach during the training camp and could never really get himself motivated to really give the best of himself against Lamont Roach. And that probably affected him during training and during the fight. And that is something that can happen, especially if you really look back on what happened with the Lamont Roach fight and all of the ups and downs about that fight being made. Because first, if you recall, he wasn't supposed to be fighting Lamont Roach. The person he was supposed to be fighting was Vasily Lomachenko. You know, the guy that everybody says that he doesn't want to fight, that he didn't want to fight. Gervonta Davis was up and prepared to fight Vasily Lomachenko.
MMA veteran Nate Diaz completely dismissed the upcoming Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight, saying he had zero interest in predicting the outcome. In his eyes, the matchup isn't a real sporting contest at all. It's a spectacle designed purely for pay-per-view money. Diaz criticized modern boxing for drifting too far into staged, profit-driven events that, he believes, strip away the sport's integrity and tradition. He argued that fights like this care more about entertainment than true competition, making it impossible for him to take them seriously.
Holy shit, Jake Paul versus Tank Davis is actually happening. What the f is going on? I guess Tank is going broke because that's the only justifiable reason you ruin your legacy against a guy like Jake Paul. And yes, I do think Jake Paul is going to win. Tank Davis is a much better boxer and has crazy power, but he's 5'5", 130. That power is not going to carry over against someone who is 6'1", 210. And it's not like Jake is bad. Yes, his fights are boring. He says he's going to step in the ring and sleep his opponents, but the only people who end up sleeping are the audience. Mike Tyson fight. But at the end of the day, he's a big guy with power who's training boxing full time, and he has beaten some legitimate competition. Woodley, Nate Diaz, Anderson Silva, Mike Perry had a competitive fight with Tommy Fury. But it's crazy how particular Jake has to be when selecting his opponents. They have to have enough clout to be interesting, enough skill to be taken seriously as a threat, but at the same time have clear weaknesses and disadvantages that Jake and his team can exploit to win. Now that he's fighting an elite boxer, he has to fight someone 7 weight classes down. I mean, Tank could win if he makes Jake do a very aggressive weight cut, but I just don't see that happening. I got Jake by 3rd round TKO. He should put me on the co-main event and allow me to fight Francis Ngannou. That would be an easy first round knockout for
Michael Bisping has voiced serious concerns about Jake Paul's decision to take on Gervonta Davis, despite the extreme weight difference. He points out that Jake is preparing to fight someone nearly 100 pounds lighter, a move that completely disrupts the natural balance of the sport. Bisping reminds fans that the Mike Tyson fight already felt questionable, given Tyson's age and long retirement. Many fans and analysts share that frustration, watching as bizarre matchups continue to steal headlines. The rumored Paul versus Davis bout, he says, is just another example of this troubling pattern. Instead of celebrating meaningful fights that create champions or settle real rivalries, boxing promoters seem more focused on staging spectacles that blur the line between sport and entertainment.
I gotta ask you, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis. Does Davis have a chance?
Gervonta is a great boxer, but he ain't gonna be Jake Paul.
So you got Jake Paul by knockout, or?
No, I don't got anybody, but I don't think
he's just too small.
I don't want to beat up somebody that small. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying?
What do you think of the fight?
I don't want to lose to somebody that. There's no point in the fight. It's a great fight, actually.
You think
I'm
it's
not
a good
hating
fight?
on the fight, but I think my thoughts on it is let's watch it and see what happens.
Ryan Garcia said that boxing's turning into WWE.
Yeah, that's
with that type of matchup. What do you agree? Last thing, White House card, like he said, you want Conor McGregor?
Yeah, but the whole thing's on WWE, so
right.
It's like, at least that's happening and it's getting something to talk about, something to watch, and I'm looking forward to that fight. Actually,
Do you feel this showdown is a thrilling clash of worlds, or just another spectacle slowly chipping away at boxing's soul?
Heavier. That is at least 65 pounds heavier than you. That is called one thing. That's called being a bully. It was bad enough when he fought Mike Tyson, a man that was 58 years old, and he was walking around like, oh, I just beat the baddest man on the planet. I just destroyed Mike Tyson and went out there and I beat him, and him and his brother are all celebrating and shit like that. It's like, dude, what are you doing? What don't you understand about this? If you want respect from your peers, if you want everyone on the planet to look at you and take you seriously and give you credit as a boxer, you have to take on challenges that are real. You have to go up against someone that keeps you up at night, against someone that gets you out of bed in the morning to go for a run because the fear of them beating you down is real. Not going up against someone that is so small. If you were to go up to this guy in a bar and try and start a fight with them, people would look at you and say one word, whoa, 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 stop being such a bully. Leave him alone. You are way bigger than this guy. And that's clearly what we have here. It is ridiculous. When you look at the tail of the tape, Gervonta Tank Davis, granted, a very, very skilled boxer, a world champion. He's had some great wins. He's had a tremendous career. He's got 28 knockouts on his record. I'm just looking at the tail of the tape here. 30 years old, Jake Paul, 28. Gervonta Davis is 5'5" tall, whereas Jake Paul is 6'1". I would never dream on picking on a guy that is 5'5" tall. Granted, there's some tough guys out there that are 5'5", okay? They're smaller guys, you know, but for 5'5", they'll pack a good punch. Typically, they're mixed martial artists or boxers, yeah.